Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of our podcast. It's Pastor Lucky, and we have Moses on the other line. Moses, man, how was Thanksgiving?
It was good, man. Man, good. Certain family members didn't come down, so you know what I'm saying. It was very like low key. Everybody was dragging their feet. A little turkey here, little food here, but all in all, grateful, man. It was good. It was good.
By when he says certain families didn't come down, he's talking about myself and my wife. Yeah, we definitely didn't come down. We're stuck in Indiana right now, trying to stay away from COVID. As y'all might know, Florida is not doing too good with COVID.
Just
Yikes!
like the rest of the country, come on, bro. Yeah. Say right, say right.
True. The rest of the country is hurting right now, and so yeah, we decided to stay home. We actually was just gonna be just my wife and my daughter, but it looks like we ended up having a couple of families over, and so that's not a good thing. Not a good thing, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. So yeah, hey man, let me tell you before we get into the podcast. Hey, tonight we're gonna be heavy on football. Heavy on football. There's a lot of COVID situation going on. We definitely want to talk about the Miami Dolphins. We definitely want to talk about the NFL, what's been going on in the NFL, Thursday nights games. And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. But before we even get on this, I've been taking some L's, some serious L's, Moses. For those that don't know, Moses is the online guy. He can get anything and everything online. And I've been taking some serious L's. I done took several L's on this Xbox multiple times trying to get this Xbox online, and I took my first major L on the sneaker app today, trying to get the Fire Reds, and I definitely didn't get nothing, man. What's going on? What's up with that, Moses?
Hey man, if you're trying to get those sneakers nowadays, man, you got to be early. You got to have a bot or something, and that goes on for the Xbox also because a lot of people using bots because the resale value is very high now. So you got to have something to secure one of those things because it's high ticket items right there. I didn't even know that you went for the sneakers today.
Yeah. I saw them like during early part of the week. I saw that they were bringing them out, and I was just like, "Yo, them things fire! I gotta get them." So I can match my nephew, you know what I mean, when I come down, and definitely wasn't able to get them. So took my L like a man. My wife's really happy because she's like, at least we didn't spend no money, and so it is what it is. But it's a serious L, man.
I'll tell you this: I did not even try to go after them. I spent so much money, like Black Friday, buying little stuff for the Xbox and stuff like that. Like I got, like you said, little man already got his pair. He been had his pair on the pre-release when they had the drop like a couple of weeks ago. But I'm pretty sure, maybe not, but maybe tomorrow or sometime during the week, I'm just gonna cross my fingers and try to go to the mall, see if I find it there. I'm not expecting I'm going to, but we'll see how it turns out.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Hey, listen, man. Everybody has some kind of luck. Maybe it's just me. I don't have the luck, so maybe you'll be able to walk in and find those things in the mall. All right, so let's get into it. Like before, let me give y'all a little story. Hey, it's story time with Pastor Luck. I like to tell stories. Hey, I'm just letting y'all know stories are really amazing. So last Sunday, I'm chilling, right? I'm vibing. It's football Sunday. Everybody in America knows it's football Sunday, right? And so I get in there. I'm trying to get ready for fantasy football. So I'm looking at the pregame previews, the preview shows, and I'm trying to figure out who do I need to take out, put in, because there was a couple of guys, you know what I mean? I was a little worried about with my fantasy teams, trying to catch up on some information about the Dolphins too, how they're gonna look today. And my wife, who is absolutely not a fan of sports, could care less about sports, right? And in fact, if it went away, she'd probably do some backflips in the backyard like all day, every day, right? And so she's just like, every 2 seconds, she's like, "Hey, can you do this for me?" First it was, "Can you go make me some food, make us some breakfast to eat?" Next it was, "Can you clean the baby? Can you take Araya a shower?" Next it was something else. Like I kept getting erupted, and it's like, and it got me to thinking. It just got me to thinking, and I'm asking myself, would it be better to be with someone that's all about sports all the time, in your face, like or would it be just better to have it the way it is right now, where I know that once she gets what she needs, like she's gonna just leave me alone. Hey, go ahead, watch your football. Who cares? Enjoy. Or do I want somebody like in between, in the middle? And so I was thinking about it. And I was wondering, like, I wonder how fans, like other fans that are passionate about their teams, Like, how do they like it? Do they want somebody that's that into it? What about you, Moses? How are you and Farah doing it? How does Farah do it? First of all, because I know she likes a little bit of sports. And what do you think is the best scenario when you're all into sports?
I could tell. I only know it one way, so I could tell you this. Like with me and Farah, she'll ask me to do all those things that your wife Warnie tells you to do, right before. But she knows exactly when it turns 1 o'clock that is like, oh, it's football time. So she handles it by herself, or she just goes and do something else. So that's the only way I know it, right? So to me, it works out perfect. Like I do everything from the time that I wake up to maybe about like noon. Take care of all the housework, and if we got to go out, we go out, right? But as soon as noon comes, I need to set up my lineup to see who's in, who's out, right?
Right.
And she knows that also, right? So as soon as 1 o'clock hits and I turn on that TV and all the pregame shows are over and it's kickoff, she already knows like, yo, he's into his football, and it's time for me to just go somewhere else. But for other people, I know that they like it when their spouse or the significant other is with them. Like they both get excited together. They have conversations throughout the whole week with football that they're very both interested in, and it works out for them. I haven't experienced that, but I can see how it works both ways.
I can see how it works both ways. I almost like we were just actually talking about this at the table as we were having our Thanksgiving dinner on Saturday night.
Yeah.
We were talking about it. I was just like, it wouldn't be so bad to have someone that is all into sports. But I think what bugs me is someone that's into sports with me, that they want to get into it, but then they're cheering for the other team. So like if the Dolphins are playing the Broncos and Warnie comes in and she's like, yes, go Broncos, go score. Because she was talking about how that's really cool and it's awesome to go against what I'm going with. But I'm like, no, that's annoying. Like I'm about to have a heart attack and panic attack here. And you talking about go Broncos. Like, no. But so I was just thinking about it. It's like, do I really want somebody into sports, or do I just like it? Hey, I just get in my man cave and I just relax. Nothing to be bothered about. So I don't know. It's just interesting as a sports fan to think about all these different things. But anyway, let's jump into it. So we had Thursday night games that went on. One of them got canceled, got pushed back to Sunday, and then got rescheduled again to Tuesday. So what did you think about the Thursday night games? Houston versus Detroit, Washington versus Dallas. You pick a topic. Tell me, what did you think about it?
Well, the first game played the what was it, Detroit versus Houston. That was actually a pretty good game. Like I'm not sure. I think Houston got the ball first. I think it was a 3-and-out, or they punted the ball, right? And Detroit came down. They marched straight downfield, 7. Boom. So I'm like, okay, Detroit came to play. Then back-to-back turnovers. That pretty much like set the outcome of the game. You already knew the outcome of the game after that. Like it was still a close game, right? It was still a close game. But as soon as the second half hit, that's when it just took off. You had Watson, he played good from the beginning, right? He was 17, 25, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns. And after that, and he caught Fuller. Fuller didn't have it in the first half. He wasn't going off. But those two back-to-back, what was it, 70, almost like 70-yard bombs, whatever it was, and he ends up with six touches, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. And don't get me started how that hurt me in fantasy, dude. All the teams I was going against had Fuller in their starting lineup.
Oh.
Had Fuller. So that's like what, 36? One league was like 37 points. 2 of the other leagues is 35 points. Oh boy, it was rough. But that game was pretty good, but you can actually tell, like from what I can see, I can actually tell, like no matter what the records say, Houston, I think, is a better team than Detroit. Like they might be going through some tough times right now, but they are a better team, and it's evident of what they did today. Patricia got fired. He got fired for a reason. He got fired. Like the team, ever since he got hired, did not perform. Did not perform the way they should have. By now, they should have been at least coming from the Patriots way. Also, they should have at least made the playoffs at least once as a wildcard team. So so that game. As far as Washington and the Cowboys, the rest of the Washington football team and the Cowboys, as far as they go, it's just that whole division that whole division is just bad, dude. You got everybody's under 500, right? Washington got a good defense, but the offense is up and down. The Cowboys, you had Zeke running for like what 36 yards on 10 carries. You know what I'm saying? It's just not going to cut it. It is just sad that one of those teams is going to take a spot from somebody else that probably more deserves it, more, and to get that wild card spot. But all in all, it was a good football Thursday. But I enjoyed the first game more so than the second. What about you? What do you say?
Before I even give my thoughts, let me put you on the spot real quick. So we know that the NFC, the NFC East is flat out terrible, right? It's flat out terrible, right? You got Washington right now at 4-7, leading the division, and then the rest of the teams got 3 wins. All right. So let me put you on the spot real quick, man. Give me what team going down the stretch actually wins this division. Which team do you think will win this division and why?
I'll tell you this. It will be between either the Giants or Washington. That I think. Washington has a good defense. Their defense is good. Offense, I trust Alex Smith than any of the other quarterbacks. The more he plays, the more he gets in rhythm. They have a beast in McLaurin, right? They have a beast in and what was it? Their running back went off. Gibson went off for like 3 touchdowns. He's serviceable. He can go off, right? They have a good team. And then you go to not Washington. You go to the Giants. The Giants, they look like they're on the come up because all the games that they played this year, they've been into every single game. It was always close, and they lose by a field goal here, they lose by a touchdown here, there, and there. I think if they piece everything together and get it rolling, it's going to be between winning those 2 teams.
I like it. As far as the Thursday night games, I look, it's so sad because, it's a sad, but it's a good thing because I look at everything through fantasy football, right? And so, when the first game when I'm watching Houston, I was playing a guy in my frat league that had Watson. And by the end of the game, Watson's got 43 points on me. And I'm just like, yo, what happened there? Like, how does Deshaun Watson go off? And it's so interesting because when you watched Houston in the beginning of the season, they end up losing their head coach getting fired. You're like, this team is done for, right? This team is not going to do anything. And right now, this team is doing decent. They're putting up a decent fight. Where they've been able to come back, and you're like wondering to yourself, like, did we give up on that team too early? At 4-7, I don't think they make the playoffs. But what hurts me the most watching Houston win these games, besides fantasy, obviously, is I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, and they have Houston's first round pick. And so the more games that Houston wins, I'm sitting there like, no, you need to lose. What are you doing? Yeah. Like, this is not what we tanked for last year. This is not why we gave you our left tackle. You know what I mean? Like, we gave them to you so you could suck this year. And sure enough, they're not sucking. And so it is what it is. But the game was okay. Nothing spectacular. I have Will Fuller in one of my leagues, and he gave me 35 points. So that was really, really awesome. I don't know if I'm still gonna be able to win that game, but yeah, I enjoyed that. Second game, right? Oh, I'm playing you, right? Is that you that I'm playing right now? Let me see this here. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, you in trouble. But you got from Amari Cooper, you got 23 points. That's the only reason. That's out of your flex. That's out of your flex too. And man, I need to. How much do you need that? Oh, you need that game. You need that game. I can afford to lose it, but I don't want to lose it though. Anyway, so look at this. So in the second game, Washington versus Dallas. So if I had, so obviously Miami Dolphins has always been my favorite team, but I've always had backup teams that I like, that I like to cheer for, and I've always liked Dallas. You know what I mean? And so when I watched Dallas this year, I understand they lost their starting quarterback, but it really sucks to see how the Dolphins, the Dallas Cowboys, haven't been able to put it together, and it looks terrible right now. You know, you've got all these offensive weapons. You've got at least 3 receivers deep that you could throw to any week, any day of the week, any match up against anyone that should be able to get open. I know their offensive line has been ravaged with injuries. But you've got Zeke, you've got Tony Pollard back there. That's a decent backup. Like, I expect that team to be able to 16 points. But the problem is, and I agree with you where you say you think Washington can win this division because of their defense. Defense wins championships, right? Exactly. And so Washington is able to shut down Dallas, holds Dallas to 16 points, and Washington goes out and scores 41. Yeah. And that's ball game, right? And so Dallas major problem right now is they need help on the defensive side of the ball. Even if Andy Dalton could do anything, you've got to be able to stop somebody at some point. You've got to be able to get a turnover, a sack. And unfortunately, right now, Dallas can't do none of it. And so that really hurts. But fantasy-wise, we were in the group chat, in the Hooligans group chat. And it's so funny watching Gibson go off, young man, go off. And this man, and it's funny because he might not be everything you think right now, but it looks like moving forward, Antonio Gibson might be something in the next 2-3 years that you definitely want to roster on your fantasy football teams. Yeah. Man, he had one heck of a game, man. Proud of that young man. Before we even so Thursday night's games got a little butchered up because of the Pittsburgh versus Baltimore game. We were supposed to have that in the evening time. That was going to be the big boy game of the night, right? Yep. The heated rivalry, ready to knock each other out. And unfortunately, that game got pushed back because of COVID. If you don't know, COVID it's real out there, right? We're losing people by the tons. We have got over 250,000 people that's died. By the grace of God, we've been able to play sports and nobody's been died from it, right? And so that's amazing to know. But people have been infected. And so teams are taking huge precautions. And so even before we jumped on this podcast today, it's been crazy with news, right? The Denver Broncos just lost their 3 quarterbacks, right? So they've got a starting quarterback, for those that don't know. They've got a backup quarterback, and then they had a backup to that backup quarterback. Okay. And all 3, they didn't test positive. I think it's one of the backups that tested positive, but the other 2 had like close contact with him. And so now Denver, I don't even know what's going to happen. Denver doesn't have a quarterback right now going into tomorrow's game. And the worst part about it is Denver just beat my Miami Dolphins. And that was a huge win for them because it allowed them to jump back into the playoff picture, even though I don't think they're going to make the playoff, but they're back in the playoff picture. Now, for those that are in fantasy, we're worried about the Baltimore versus Pittsburgh game, trying to figure out, do I play Ben Roethlisberger or do I not? You know what I mean? Do I play? Oh, he's already saying no. Do I play Baltimore?
No, bro.
So before I go, okay, so let's jump to that. Let's jump to that question since you already done. So if you've got a player on the Pittsburgh or the Ravens, you're saying don't play them at all.
No.
Why? Break it down for me. Why?
It's too much of a risk. First of all, the game is on Tuesday, last game of the week, right?
Right.
As you can tell by the news, what is it? 18 players on Baltimore. 18 players on the COVID list, right? You got 4, as when I checked last time, it was 4 players on the Steelers that's on the COVID list, right? Including the running back, right?
Right.
It's the last game of the week. It's not like, okay, say if it's a late Sunday game, it's not like if that game gets canceled, like, oh snap, let me go ahead and check the waiver wire and see who I can get for the Monday night game to cover my players. Mm-hmm. And it says that on fantasy also. It's like if the game gets canceled because of COVID, and that's the end of the week game, like, they're in your starting lineup. That's 0 points for you. You can't make that up. There's no exceptions, right? That's too much of risk, especially considering the number of players that's on the COVID list. Can Baltimore field a competitive team? And you still got a couple of days left of testing. So if you have 2 more days of players coming back positive, they're going to have to cancel that game, dude. They're going to have to cancel. I don't see how they continue and they play Tuesday. I don't see it.
It's interesting. I actually do think the game is going to get canceled. and I actually took all my players that are on those two teams out today. But here I'm gonna point a scenario out, and I tell you, let me. Okay, so if you have Big Ben, so for instance, I just told you Deshaun Watson dropped 43 on my head, right?
Exactly.
I was hoping that Big Ben was gonna play, and I was gonna make up some of that. Big Ben's been having an awesome year for fantasy wise. I mean, his team is having a good year. He's having a good year. They're doing really well. But fantasy wise, he's been giving me points. And so what I was thinking is, if the Baltimore Ravens are gonna have, you just said 18 players that are gonna sit out. That means if they play the game, that means you legit have Big Ben is gonna run around and throw for like 500 yards because he's pretty much going up against a JV team, right? And so I'm already down 43 points. Like, should I not just take the chance and play Big Ben? And hopefully they do get the chance to get the game in, and then I because hey, listen, Watson's already put up 43. There's no way I'm gonna win that game. All right, the projections have already showed that I'm gonna lose by 40. So my only chance is for a miracle, right? So today I went into the waiver wire. I picked up Fitzmagic for the Dolphins. But let's be for real, you know what I mean? He has a good matchup, but do I really think Fitz is gonna drop anywhere over 30 points? No, probably not. And so so the scenario is, if you really need some huge chunks and you've got a Steeler, right? If you've got a Steeler, should you take the chance anyway?
If you absolutely have to.
Okay, so you're saying if it's a must, you go.
Because what you said does bring up an interesting point. Like, if I'm looking at the players that's on the COVID list for Baltimore, like, I think they only have maybe like 3 or 2 starting linemen. Everybody else is on the practice squad. If I had to pick somebody up, I'll pick who's playing Benny Snell. I'll pick Benny Snell. Benny Snell will go crazy, right?
Yes.
Without Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams on that line for Baltimore, you can run all day. Unless they like heavy run commit, you can run all day. I wouldn't test the corners. So you still got Humphreys and you got Peters on the other side, and those 2 good cornerbacks. But if I need a lot of points and I'm desperate, I'm picking up a running back because that running back will have a field day. I agree with you on that point. But like I said, it's too risky. It's too risky, dude. Because what if it's a close game? What if you only need like 10 points? Right? You need 10 points and you got Roethlisberger and say you got Snell playing and the game gets canceled. You lost. And then you probably got like 20 points on your bench that you could have started, right? So to me, it's just too much of a risk, especially this late in the season, in the fantasy season. We're only got 2 more games. And if you're not number 1 and you got like a 2 or 3 game lead, you can't take those risks, man. You can't take those risks.
I agree with you. I think it depends where you're at in the playoffs spot. You know what I mean? If you could take the risk, I can't. Unfortunately, in all 5 of my leagues, I've sucked. I'm in the middle of the road, so I need all the wins I can get. So I need all the points I can get. Exactly. I can't afford to do it. So, but here we go. Let's talk about it this way, though. So, how do you think the NFL? How do you think the NFL has handled COVID? You know what I mean? And from your perspective, obviously, once again, like I said last week, we're not sitting in the decision rooms, you know what I mean? But based off what we see on TV and how everything's been played out and how just the reaction in America, how do you think the NFL has done with the whole COVID situation?
I tell you this, it all depends on what they do with this game coming up for me, from what I see. Like, in the beginning, everybody could do no wrong because the teams, they still have bye weeks, right? So they're able to switch things around. Like, okay, we're doing everything possible that we possibly can do to make sure a safe environment for the players, right? So they can move a game here, move a game there. But what happens when you're in week 12, week 13, and majority of teams already have their bye weeks? They can't afford to move a game here. That just means prolonging the season, right? They can't afford. So to me, it seems that if they do not cancel this game, then it's just like, it was all for face value in the beginning of the season because they had that leeway. Now when it comes down to when you really need to cancel these games, they're like, no, just let it play. Just let it play on. So for the most part, in the beginning, yes, they handle it well. But it'll come down to later on in the season when it really gets down to the knit and grit to see how they handle it. That's how I see it.
But here's the crazy part about it with the whole Baltimore Ravens thing. I believe both teams have had their buys, and
Exactly.
yeah, and so you even if you so if you cancel it, you're in essence saying they're not gonna make it up. We're not talking about rescheduling because they don't have nowhere else to reschedule the game into. Uh,
Exactly.
and so you're okay. So what you're saying is they just need to cancel it. And how do you mark that on the schedule? Do you
They need
on
to.
the
They
is
need
that
to.
a loss or is that a tie? How do you mark that for oh
Now
this
that's
no game
that.
played?
Now that's something that they have to figure out. I heard that if it comes down to them canceling games, then it's going to be based off win percentage. The teams that get into the playoffs. That's what I heard. Right? They can also do
Mhm.
that, or what they can do is they can add like a week 18, an extra week
Okay.
for all the teams that they have to reschedule so they can get that game in. It's up to how they handle it. It's
I
all up to how to handle it.
I definitely love your idea of adding a week 18 or extra week, figuring it out to allow games that need to be rescheduled to be rescheduled. Because I'm looking at the standings here. You've got the Ravens at 6-4, competing with the Browns, the Raiders, the Pats, the Dolphins. That one game that if they're missing, it's going to be very, very huge, huge, huge. And so I would rather them actually just cancel it and push it back and say, hey, we're gonna go ahead and do it week 18. I don't like the idea of them playing on Tuesday night anyway. I know it's more football for all of us, but then they got to turn around and play on a Sunday. That's hectic. At this point, this is where I am. First of all, I think the NFL didn't do it the right way. I didn't like the way how they did it. I thought, and I've mentioned this idea to a few people, and they were like, I don't know, luck. I thought they should have did what the MLS did, so Major League Soccer, and what the NBA did, right? They went in, they created a bubble. Obviously, those teams are way smaller
Mm-hmm.
when it comes with players and even with personnel that surrounds these teams and things of that nature. And so that made it easier to create that bubble in the beginning. But I still think you could have created some sort of bubble for these NFL teams. And so maybe what you had is had all the have one team. So if it's the Miami Dolphins, you all have them stay in one hotel, have the players stay in one hotel. Unfortunately, they would have to stay for the length of the season, travel together, stay together at all times. Same thing, you know what I mean? So the Denver Broncos are locked in one place. And so when we travel, they play with each other and then they go right back into their bubble hotel. I think that would have been better off because at some point I knew this was going to happen. You were going to begin to have. And here's the honest truth is, so I'm criticizing the NFL, but the truth of the matter is they've done a really good job because I'm not going to lie to you. In the beginning, I thought we were going to have maybe 6 games, 4 games, and it was going to get canceled. The
Yeah.
fact that we've been able to get to 10 games in and we're headed into week 11 to week 12, it's amazing. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. But I thought they could have just did the bubble. But you know, and maybe it's because I'm scared of the coronavirus, and you know, what I mean, for those that don't know, I've got a round belly, and so I don't exercise. I worry like left and right that I might just catch this coronavirus and be like, can't breathe. And so I'm scared of it. And so maybe that's why I have the decisions that I say, I talk about it the way I talk about it. But I really do think that with everything that's going on already, I think they should just maybe try to hold off, shut it down for a little bit. Maybe shut down the season for a month, especially with the vaccine coming out. They're reporting that by maybe December 10th, they'll be able to start giving out vaccines. And so shut it down for a month, come back mid-January, pick up right where you left off. I know it extends the season, so that means that you're probably not going to finish up until March. I know the college basketball is not going to like it. Whatever winter sports we got, the NBA won't like it. But I think if you shut it down for a month, allow things to cool down, because right now, just like you said early on in the podcast, it's hot everywhere right now with coronavirus. And
Yeah.
so it's really, really tough, man. So what do you think about that?
I can see them doing that, say for like the playoffs. That would be like more feasible for the playoffs
Mm-hmm.
because it's less teams. You know what I'm saying? Then I can see them doing that. But it was a struggle for the NBA being inside a bubble for 3 months. right? And that's why they call it the COVID championship. There's like some teams are just out of it. Some players didn't play like they were supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Like it was Kemba Walker. He wasn't playing like he played when he was in the regular season. They say that it got to him. That's what they said. Like what? 3 months of being in a bubble, and you have what a 53-man roster plus practice squad players, plus coaches. That's a lot of. That's a lot of time to be around a whole bunch of dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You got people in the NBA sneaking people up into their hotel rooms.
Hey, minute from Lavelle. Buy from you. Buy from you, and they'll be all right.
Yeah, for some of these dudes, it's hard. Like a lot of people can't handle it. It takes like a strong will to be able to do that. But I can see, I like the idea because I said the same thing too going into the season. And just like you, when you said that you thought that it was going to be 6 games and that's it, and it's going to shut down, I thought that also, right? But I can see them going that way if it gets really bad. I can see them going that way for the playoffs leading into the Super Bowl. I could definitely see that.
Oh, definitely. I think you definitely can't play a playoff game with one team missing either their starting quarterback or missing 18 players. No, I think at that point you definitely really got to think about you got to reschedule it, and that's just shut it down.
Exactly. The fan bases of that team is going
to my God.
They're going to be like, yo, you were at a disadvantage. We weren't healthy. Like, it's not real. You know, there's going to be excuses, and that's one thing people don't like, excuses. They don't want to put an asterisk next to their win. They don't like that. They don't like that at all.
True. So we headed into tomorrow's game. Some big games on the docket. I definitely I told y'all last week that this podcast is going to be my diary, and sure enough, it was like I was speaking it into existence, right? So going into last weekend, I thought my Miami Dolphins were about to be like on a 16, 17, 18 game streak. We're about to win the Super Bowl. I was selling out like, we're back, baby. We're back. And sure enough, man, my guy Fresh really had me believing in this team. And sure enough, we end up laying a clunker. I knew it was gonna happen. I knew we were gonna go against a team that we were favored against, expected to beat, and we were gonna put up a clinker. And so exactly what happened. Tua was average. He had only 83 yards. The big hoopla all week was that in the fourth quarter, I look up and we see Fitzmagic running into the field. Tua was benched. And so at the end of the game, the coach said it was just he was trying to find a spark. It was not that Tua was hurt. Unfortunately, Tua is actually hurt. He probably won't play tomorrow, most likely. Won't play tomorrow. And so the big question coming out of the game for everybody in the NFL is, should Tua have been pulled? Should Tua have been pulled? And before we answer that question, I knew this was going to happen with the Dolphins because I don't know if I can fully trust the defense and special teams. Like the defense and special teams have been playing outstanding. Like, I mean, they've been balling, you know what I mean? Like scoring TDs left and right, both special teams and the defense. But I kept asking myself the question, can they legitimately do this all season long where the offense is somewhat okay? And they're the shining star. And it showed up. The offense has to find a way to get better. Tua has to find a way to hit his targets. I know a lot of people were loving Tua, especially after the Arizona game. But I'm still, and I was a big fan of Tua coming out of college. But I need to see more. I need to see the offensive playbook open up. I need to see they give him the opportunity to make the big boy throws. And I understand up until this point, they really didn't need to, because once again, the defense and special teams have played so well. But I do want them to begin to lean on him a little bit more and allow him to do what he does best and hit his receivers, man. Come on. I know this. Hit his receivers. Anyway, so Moses, tell me, man, should they have benched Tua?
Nope.
What? Why not? He's playing terrible. He was sucking it up. Why not bench him?
Bro, that sends the wrong message to your quarterback. especially if you pull Fitzpatrick and say it was Tua time, right? We're going
Right.
100% in with Tua. That's not just when he's playing good. It's good times and bad times. I understand they got tape on Tua now, so now they're skewing a little bit for Tua now. But Tua made some big throws also. After the Dolphins got that first interception in the first quarter, he came
Yeah.
down, throw that fade route to William Parker. Then in the end zone, he caught that. Yeah, everybody thought it was going to be lovely. But they adjusted for Tua. Yeah, they adjusted for Tua. Like when it comes to Tua, like from what I've seen in the game, also he held on to the ball a lot, long, and he was getting sacked. Right, he needs to make more quick reads, and he had some of the reads that he was making real fast, real quick, like not even 7-step drop, like come out, boom, right to Parker, slant route, first down. You know what I'm saying? It happens. It happens with almost all rookies, dude. It's gonna happen. He's gonna have those really, really good games, and he's gonna have those really bad games, right? So you have to build this confidence, know that whatever you do, we're gonna stick with you because you're our guy now. So I don't think they should have pulled him. They should have actually just played through. Now, granted, Fitz came in, and aside from that pick that he threw in the end zone, they could have tied it up and went to what you call it, went to overtime. They could have went to overtime. But you already know what you have with Fitz. You know his ceiling, dude. You know what's gonna happen. Like I knew when Fitz was with the Jets, like he would got some really good games, and as you know, he would have some really bad games. But I think you should have stuck with him because Tua might have put up a similar performance later in the game as Fitz did, right? So I think you just did. And if you lose, you lose. He learns from it. He gets better, and you continue. But like I said, if not this year, I think the Dolphins next year, especially with a full offseason of him learning the offense and it being his team and moving forward, especially with the defense, the way that they came on also have come on, like they're going to be the cream in that division, dude. It's gonna be up there. I mean, Buffalo and you guys. I'm telling you, that's what it is.
I agree. I agree. I mean, it depends on what your Jets do. Because if your Jets pick up Trevor Lawrence, man, that's a huge. That division becomes big boy division. But with Tua, I'll say this with the Tua thing. So I didn't agree with it at the time. I thought it was crazy to do that because you have a rookie quarterback. And you know that there are going to be some lumps and bruises with a rookie quarterback, right? And on top of that, you already know what you have in Fitzpatrick. You already know what you have in Fitzmagic. The magic is it only gets you so far. It's not real magic. At some point, exactly, his magic is not sustainable, and so. You need what Tua brings to the table. You know Tua has a stronger arm. Even with that throw at the end where he throws the pick, I think a quicker release, a harder throw that gets there sooner, it's probably a touchdown. But unfortunately, here's the facts. Fitz can't make that throw. He just can't. His arm strength is not there no more. And I don't know if it ever was, but that's not what he's capable of. And so, yeah, I at the time I didn't like it, but I'm also not a fan of, because quarterback from Pee Wee all the way to the NFL is the only position where the player is so sensitive, right? Like, oh, you can't bench the quarterback, you can't bring in competition. It's his team. No, like if you're playing bad, right? If you're playing bad, you should be able to pull someone, put someone else in, just like you would do with a cornerback. If a cornerback is getting roasted all game, I'm not going to let him continue to get roasted. I'm going to pull him out and give my backup a chance. You know what I mean? And so it's the same concept. And you know what I mean? One of the things that pisses me off about Bruce Arians, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach, is that Ronald Jones, as soon as because I have Ronald Jones in like 3 of my fantasy teams, right? As soon as Ronald Jones drops the ball or fumbles the ball, he pulls him right out. And for the rest, sometimes he doesn't let him get back the game. Pisses me off because Ronald Jones, I feel, is probably their best back on that team, and he's had a very productive year. And so it's the same concept. Like, if I can pull the running back, why can't I pull the QB? Let the QB go sit on the sideline, watch what I do, and go out there and do what he does. The only reason I didn't like it, once again, is because we already know what we have in Fitz. We knew Fitz wasn't going to be able to bring us back. We knew that. Once again, he's a great, amazing guy. But at this time, you gotta let Tua ride.
But I would say this though. I agree. I agree to what you said, playing the quarterback if they're not playing good, right? Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with that, right? But he's a rookie quarterback. That's one thing about quarterbacks, what they do, they play off experience. Like, I remember when I was in this situation with this down, what I did in this game, right? Tua, it's his first year. He doesn't have that experience to fall back. I'm not going, okay, I went back, okay, in this situation in Alabama, it's not the same thing, dude, right? So in this instance, you play him, you let him learn. So if this thing happens, say, 3 games later down or week 17, when you need the win to get into the playoff, he can pull from that experience also, and he could play it out. And plus, you never gave him the opportunity to see if Tua, like I said, could bring you back, bring you back from down to win the game, right? He might be in the same situation as Fitzpatrick, right? The same throw as Fitzpatrick, and he does get it there sooner. And it's a touchdown. You go into overtime. Y'all don't know that because you pulled him. So next time, especially with Tua, he's not going to play this week probably. So in the future, you let it play out. Remember when Tim Tebow was playing?
Yeah.
He was trash, pardon my excuse, the whole game, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as the fourth quarter comes up, what happens? Touchdown. Whoa, we beat the Steelers. We're going to the next round. You know what I'm saying? That could be the same thing. So that's the only reason, because he's a rookie. That's the only reason I don't agree with it. But if it's a veteran, say Fitzpatrick, and he's playing the tools throughout the whole, you pull him because you already know, like, bro, you're what, 13, 14, I don't know how many years into the league. If you're not playing good now, then you might as well just put somebody else in. That's how I see it.
Hey, you just kind of scared me. You just compared my quarterback to Tim Tebow. I'm nervous.
Tim
Tebow in the NFL was terrible, bro. Don't believe. Don't wish that on my guy, please. Tua, you're not going to be Tim Tebow.
No.
We know that already. All right.
The only got the same motion though.
Oh no! Oh, please don't do this. Oh no, we're gonna move on. Let's move on. Let's go. So we go for our last segment. Let's really run through the NFL games tomorrow. We're not gonna run through all of them, just like we did last week. You pick out a few that you think that you really are looking forward to, whether it's for fantasy reason, if you just think it's gonna be a good game. Tell the people what games are you excited about for tomorrow, Sunday Fun Day.
The game I'm looking forward to the most is probably KC versus Tampa. That's the game I was
big boy
game. The big boy game. That's because I say right now Tampa Bay needs that win. They really need that win, especially coming from the losses that they came from. And KC, they're just 9-1. They're just doing their thing. But Tampa really needs that win. Tampa has a lot of weapons on offense. Like once you get your receivers going, Tom Brady has his pick, right? And like you said, Ronald Jones and you got Fournette. You know what I'm saying? They have a good record, 7-4, but I think they should be a little bit better. But I think as the season goes on, they will be a lot better, right? I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna look at the Monday night game, Seahawks versus Philadelphia, because I picked up the Seahawks defense. That's basically that's really it. And then you have San Francisco and the Rams. They always play each other good. San Francisco has a lot of players coming off IR. They're getting back in full strength. It should be a good game. So that's the games I'm looking for. What you looking for?
So Tom Brady played like trash last week. So tell me, do you believe Tom Brady's done? What are you looking at Tom Brady? Like, it's no reason for them boys to.
No.
What do you think about Tom Brady?
I tell you this: if you look at everybody in the first year Arian system, they don't play the best. I think like next year if he still plays, he's gonna be a lot better. And plus with the games that Tom Brady plays bad in, he always follows up with a good game, right? But I think coming down to it, even if Tom Brady has a very good game, it's gonna be very close. But I think KC pulls out the win. I really do. So.
Wow. All right. So them boys are about to be on a 2-game losing streak.
7-5.
Here we go. The game obviously the game I'm most looking forward to is the Dolphins versus the Jets. I know. Hey, listen, sorry to be a homer, but yes, I am looking forward to my Dolphins Main reason I'm looking for it is to see how them boys bounce back, right? You're, you know what I mean? Prior to last week, you know what I mean? A lot of people started talking about the Dolphins nastily, right? What everybody started taking notice of the Dolphins and started saying maybe this team can actually get into the playoffs. Obviously, that everyone was just saying playoffs, not nothing big, not no Super Bowl run, nothing of that nature. But it would be nice to see this team get into the playoffs, especially since it's been a while, right?
Hmm.
And so I'm looking forward to see how this team bounce back. Once again, you're going to be favored. The Jets aren't a good team by any means. Head coach is terrible. Sam Darnold is coming back. So that's some good news. We probably won't get a chance to talk about Sam Darnold tonight, but I just want to see if Tua won't play, but I just want to see if this offense can do something, actually make some moves, score at least 30 points, maybe. I know it's an NFL team, so you shouldn't expect that, but yeah, I'm hoping that. And then I'm looking. I think a game that you probably didn't hit on is the Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts. Man,
Okay.
that's a huge game because of playoff implications, right?
So yeah.
Obviously, one of those teams are going to win the division. But the team that doesn't win the division is probably right now looking at getting definitely a wild card spot.
Yeah.
And so obviously, I'm looking at it from the Dolphins' perspective. I need whoever doesn't win, I need them to actually drop below. But it definitely, I think that's and plus that game, you've got amazing defense in the Colts, right? One of the top defenses in the NFL
Oh.
going against that rush, that rushing offense from Tennessee, the play action from my guy Tannehill. All right, now he's my guy. When he was for the Dolphins, he definitely wasn't my guy.
Gase.
Yeah, so I definitely want to see how he plays with that play action, and so I'm looking forward to that game. Good bloody matchup. Derrick Henry come just do what he does, right? And so I was excited about obviously the Pittsburgh versus Baltimore game, but we already know that that one actually might not get played. If I were you guys, I wouldn't look forward. I wouldn't look forward to it. We'll end on this. Talk a little bit about real quick about your fantasy teams. Are you in playoff positions? How did last week work out for you?
Bro, last week I won all three. All three of
Look
my
at you.
leagues I won. All three of my leagues, well, the last one I'm close. I'm like a half a game behind of the playoffs. That's the one that started off really horribly. But I'm in playoffs in all my leagues, and I'm trending upwards basically. But like I said, this week is not looking very good. Fuller, all three leagues. I did start Duke Johnson. He did give me
Oh,
17 points. He should have had more, but they took him out on the goal line. Um,
yeah.
but hopefully, I'm looking at the matchups. Some of the matchups that I do have is favorable. We'll see how that turns out. So hopefully, I can even with Fuller putting up that many points, maybe I can like pull something out because I still have Keenan Allen in that league. I got Cooper Cup. Hopefully, he gets the reception in the yard that he got last week. Rogers. I got Nick Chubb. Hopefully, Chubb's getting majority of the carries instead of Kareem Hunt. But yeah, we're going there. So far it's looking good, but it's coming down to crunch time. I need to win these next two to guarantee me a spot in the playoffs, man. What's up with you? How you doing?
Yeah, man. I took two L's in the two leagues that I really needed some wins that I thought I'm still so in my frat league, I'm still in the sixth spot. But I mean with Watson dropping 43 on Thursday night, I'm most likely gonna lose that game. And so now I might drop out of the eighth spot, depending on how everybody else shakes out. So last week was tough. I took a L that I should have won. And then Derrick Henry scores a TD in OT in our league. As soon as he scored it in OT, I was like, that's a wrap. I just lost that. And I sure enough, I lost that game to Chris. Congrats, Chris. You got a baby on the way. Anyway, yeah, and Chris wins by a point, and so that hurts me. And I'm still sitting at I think the eighth spot in our league. And so if I can win the next two, I'm still one game away from the playoffs. I should make it. Everywhere else, I'm doing okay. Except for the hooligans, I'm fighting for bottom four. Your boy might. Hey, if I have to suffer my punishment, we'll record it and put it on here for the podcast. You know,
You want to rethink that?
I mean, hey, it's gonna happen. But I'm hoping I can a miracle. I can win the next 2 games. Lord, you're my God. You're my Savior. You provide the blessings. Anyway, hey, listen, this has been your boy Pastor Luck with my man Moses on the mics. It's been our pleasure to talk a little bit about football, all football this whole time. And so, hey, reach out to me. You know what I mean? Find me Sports Genius 777 on Twitter, Sports Genius 37s. Also, I'm on Facebook, Luxon Emmanuel. Hit me up. Mo, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me Moses Jeremy, all platforms. That's what it is. Not big social media, but you know what I'm saying. I'm getting that social media in right now. So as soon as it's everybody, as soon as we get this name down, you can find us on YouTube. Also, we're gonna upload these podcasts, and we're gonna head and put videos up here and there about the weekend sports. That's what we're gonna do. So just keep a lookout for that. Hit us up on all social media. Check our show out. Pass it up to a friend. Tell a friend and tell another friend. And yeah, we'll be out there.
Y'all heard the man. Follow what he just told you. And by the way, hey, go out there, read your Bible, pray every day so you can grow. God bless.
All right, peace.